Hello guys, Cartoon Retro Boy here, and oh boy, I'm gonna definitely do a long stream for sure. Now, if you know me, I am not usually bored by something. When I think a episode is bored, I actually know when the episode. I know when it's even when I can stop and watch that episode. But unfortunately, this time I can't. You see, I'm gonna be reviewing all of SpongeBob Season 7 this very stream. Yep, you heard that right. This is gonna be a very long SpongeBob Season 7 review. Ah. If you like I said, if you know me, I just look, before I explain why am I so not happy about this is because season 7 was my very first season I watched of this freaking show. And my first impressions were not too high. Because man, season 7, man, why you have to be this boring of a season? It may be not my least favorite one, but oh my gosh. This might be the worst season when it comes to pacing. Well, at least not the worst one. Season 6 is still, terrible, but yeah. Season 7, man. Yeah, how am I doing? Not like I'm fine, but but I'm doing a stream based on SpongeBob's freaking season 7. You know, many people's least favorite season, even though I still think season 6 is worse. But man, I am not happy to do review season 7, but you know what? Since I'm not doing a video based on it, I guess I should just do a stream based on it. Hooray! Okay, so, I guess I should start off reviewing Tentacle Vision, right? Yeah, Tentacle Vision. Hooray! Now, this is one of those episodes where I have nothing to really say on it. Squidward just wanted to do like a literally freaking just want to do his own TV show, but man, the other characters won't even see, this is a problem I hate with when it comes to the show. It's when it comes to Squidward episodes is that they just won't let him just be already for once. It's annoying. It's annoying, bruh. Good Neighbors done this way before, and I can't even name other few episodes. Boating Buddies did this. Bro, Squid's Visit done this. Silverpaw Lodge done this. Choir Boys done this. Breath of Fresh Squidward done this. Squidward did this. The Thing did it. Smooth Jazz Bikini Bottom. I know I'm referencing other past episodes, but this kind of shows how much I'm tired of this stupid trend. And it doesn't get better each time. Currently, I haven't seen no sign of Squidward torture besides some, stuck in the elevator, which yeah. Which, yes, I can understand it being bother for some people, but I kind of think I compare it to Pineapple Fever. Yes, it may be another episode that many people just dislike in this season, but I don't know, man. I think Pineapple Fever is pretty good. You guys just don't like dry humor, are you? Stop being such a wimp. Don't be so wimps, guys. Come on. I know I should respect other people's opinion, but bruh, give Pineapple Fever a chance. At least it's funny. It has good jokes and other stuff. What is with you guys? Come on. Anyways, I guess I should get back to television. Tentacle Vision is a 4 out of 10. Not gonna lie, this episode is not good. Ugh. And it doesn't get better from here. I Heart Dancing, but I Heart Dancing on the other hand? Oh boy, this one is actually pretty good. I remember I used to watch this episode when I was 2, and I was surprised how good this episode was. You know what? I think I might do a hot take and say I think I prefer this over Artist Unknown. I know I'm gonna get so much backlash for saying that. I couldn't just imagine that. But just remember, who put you on the planet? Not gonna even do the meme. Because, that meme is the best, one of my favorite parts of this episode. Anyway, my ranking of I Heart Dancing is surprisingly 8 out of 10. I actually like this episode for some reason, which is cool. It's cool that I actually like this episode. Grout Spout. This is actually probably one of my favorite Mr. Krabs episodes of Season 7. You may think it's just kind of boring just because Mr. Krabs doesn't do too much in this episode. It's just him just crawling around, getting food per pearl and other stuff. But guys, this episode is pretty good. I like seeing Mr. Krabs actually care for his daughter and actually feed her, bruh. That's just crazy. And it's honestly surprise. This is actually one of two Mr. Krabs appearances where I don't mind his behavior. This episode and also the Crack Crab episode, which I'll get after Yours, Mine, and Mine. Which get ready to hear my hot takes on those episodes. Oh boy. Oh boy. Anyway, Growth Sprout. Good 8 out of 10. And then we got Stuck in the Ringer. Now, I didn't really do a good job explaining why I didn't hate this episode as the others, but here's at least one. Here's a few reasons though why I don't hate this episode as much as others. Growth Spout is Stuck in the Ringer is a episode that people rip to shreds, and even though despite being one of the most infamous episodes of the entire show, you guys are kind of too harsh on it, don't you think? First off, Patrick is actually not too bad in this episode. You guys just hate him because of, just because of his stupid super glue crap. That's just basically it. It's because of that stupid. You guys are just too harsh on that episode, to be fair, and I think that's unfairly justice. Cause one, I don't think Patrick is completely awful in this episode. Heck, I prefer him here over Pet Sitter Pat, which that's a terrible episode. Or even, the the freaking fish bowl episode. But I won't get too sappy on these episodes yet. But yeah, these episodes are, Stuck in the Ringer is one that I don't think is as bad as people think. Also, let's talk about some of the other things. The townspeople. Now, I wouldn't say they're as bad as they were in Little Yellow Book, which, a lot of people hate Little Yellow Book. I mean, yeah, I can see that, but to be fair, don't you think that the townspeople has been awful since season 2? And they have not gotten better since that season. They're either kind of a-holes to the main character, Grandma's Kisses, squirrel jokes, squirrel jokes. I can also name the sponge who can fly. And even Squidward. And Good Neighbors. And also, oh my god, Breath of Fresh Squidward. And also Giant Squidward, which I hate that episode. And also also Tentacle Vision. You see, this is why I hate the townspeople in the show in general, personally, these seasons. They only got better, at least around, season 9, season 10. But that's really it. They're just overall awful. At least up until season 10 or the season 9B. But, although there has been some examples of the townspeople being infamous, like in the early season, in season 2 to season 9A, like Pineapple RV. Um, I don't like the townspeople, to be fair, and also Bad Luck Bob is kind of a not it's not terrible per se, but it's kind of just like there. I can definitely see what the writers were trying to do, but I would rather watch Missing Identity if I wanted to, or even heck, if I wanted to see Squidward actually doing something better than SpongeBob, or at least a character doing better than SpongeBob. Well, actually, you know what? I feel like Bad Luck Bob is actually kind of a better version of Breath of Fresh Squidward. Yeah, I know that sounds like a hot take to say, but the problem with Breath of Fresh Squidward is that, SpongeBob was unlikable in that episode, and also the townspeople, and also the tone. I'm glad that, but in the second half of Bad Luck Bob, it's only at least taken half of the second episode. The first half was pretty good, but the second half is okay. Like I said, I do think it's better than Breath of Fresh Squidward, but like I said, I don't think Breath of Fresh Squidward is also a good episode. And at least I understand what the writers were doing. So, Luke, you did a good job making this better than, Breath of Fresh Squidward. Ugh. Anyway. Also, yeah. Overall, Stuck in the Ringer gets the ranking of a either 6 or 5 out of 10. It's not a necessarily bad episode like other people want to say, but there is still some good things in this episode. I like the Krusty Krab scene because it's personally funny to see all of, Sponge causing all this chaos in the Krusty Krab. And I also will say, Patrick was pretty decent here. I just think people are just too harsh in this episode, and you know what? You guys just need to stop always just hating episodes just because the only one character does something completely not good and think it's one of the worst things they've done in the show. You guys just stop. It's bad enough you guys done it with one course meal and a pal for Gary, but still, guys, come on here. Let's just calm down and just relax, okay? Well, until the next episode, of course. Someone's in the kitchen with Sandy. Holy crap. This episode is awful. It's literally Imitation Crabs, but worse. And I watched this before Imitation Crabs, and I didn't even like Imitation Crabs at all. No, that's a hot take, but I don't even like Imitation Crabs. It's a fine episode, but no, I just didn't like that episode, to be fair. I understand as fans, but for me, I don't like that episode. And also, the problem is that they just do the same idea again and again. Like, when is the writers gonna stop always ripping off, like, Imitation Crabs of all freaking things? I said freaking, so don't even think it's a bad word. Yeah, you see, this episode is just boring as heck. The plot is just no. You know what? Screw it. Like 3 out of 10. This episode just sucks and should deserve to go everywhere it goes. Let's just move on to in the inside job so I can get rid of this mess of an episode. Damn. Anyway, let's get back to the next episode. The inside job is good, even though I still think that maybe this episode is kind of for me. I can definitely see where people are coming from in this episode, but yeah, I don't necessarily agree with this one. Anyway, let's just. I will say the Inside Job is pretty good. 7 out of 10. I don't think it's great, but it's still a good episode. But however, let's get to another episode that people are just too sappy about, or some people just dislike. Gross out episodes. Anyway, Greasy Buffoons. Yes, I'll be honest, guys. I actually kind of like greasy food. Look, I'm not a slob, but I actually do like greasy. I do like when my food is greasy, to be fair. Sometimes when it's greasy, it usually makes it feel too good. And I'm an absolute sucker for this episode, to be fair. So many funny jokes. I don't mind the gross out of this episode, honestly. The gross out may be gross, maybe just kind of disgusting, but I think the gross out is better than it was in season 6. Even if season 7 still has some disturbing faces or just kind of, you know, weird objects that look very veiny or something, which is kind of gross. Not gonna lie, the Inside Job kind of does a little bit of that, but still. I think many people are now watching this stream, which that's kind of weird. But yeah, I will say this though. Greasy Buffoons is a good episode. Another, probably 9 out of 10. Pretty good one. Model Sponge. I actually have nothing to say about this one. It's pretty okay, decent enough, but at least I will say this though. It's better than SpongeBob You're Fired, which, maybe that's not a high bar, but, it's season 7 standard. It's better than. I'm comparing a freaking season 7 episode to season freaking 9. Season 7 to season 9 for crying out loud, but at least Model Sponge actually has better jokes than SpongeBob You're Fired. But like I said, 6 out of 10. This one is a 6 out of 10. I like the idea. It's definitely better than As Seen on TV, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, as a season, personally, not a very great one. I've seen better ones. Speaking of better ones, Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful. Another godforsaken boring one. See, this is what I mean by season 7 having boring pacing, and actually sometimes it bites me in the A afterwards. This is one of them. The cop is very annoying in this episode. It's like this episode is trying to make Squidward look black. That's not a great thing. Comparing white to black in your own episode, besides like sun bleach and squirrel jokes, is not funny. It never been funny, and it's just no, man. What is with the show and like these cops and stuff? I'm sort of glad that they stopped making the cops look unlikable in season 9 or season 10 or 9. I'm glad. I'm glad they stopped doing that because personally it got on my nerves. Because, man, season 7 is like. Season 6 and 7 is where they got really bad. Or season 5, actually. But anyway. I'm just gonna let it go, okay? Because really, it's no point of getting angry at one episode if you're gonna get just. Because you should save that energy for later on. Which I will. Hopefully. Anyway, Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful is boring, forgettable. It's a 3 out of 10 again. Another boring one that really just makes me annoyed. Speaking of annoyed and bored, a pal for Gary. I don't want to do this one. See, this is why I think the top 10, only number 10 through 7, or at least 6, are actually quote unquote 2 out of 10 episodes. 2 out of 10 episodes. But nah, man. A Pal for Gary is number 10, and it's very close to 3 out of 10, but still 2 out of 10 for me. The main problem with this episode is obviously SpongeBob. Like, what do you want me to bring to the table that many people already talked about? SpongeBob is completely oblivious. I hate how much SpongeBob is just oblivious to Gary in this episode. Gary goes through a lot of suffering. You know what? I feel like it's not worth talking about this episode. Love is just get the only reason why it's not 0 out of 10 because really those numbers 10 and 9 or at least 10 through 8 are just 2 out of 10, but number 6, no, number 6, 7 and 6 is where it's just 1 out of 10s, and number 5 through 4, number 5 through actually, number 7 through 1 are just 1 out of 10 episodes. Well, besides maybe, don't know Sponge, my least favorite episode of the season, but, like I said. Let's move on. Look. Look. Okay. There is some things I will say this episode is at least redeemable, at least. First off, let's talk about, let's talk about Gary in general in this episode. Because Gary's only likable character here, besides just Mr. Krabs in general, but that's really it. He's only minor in this episode. He serves nothing here, to be fair. He's just kind of there for the sake of being there. And Mr. Krabs at least is not as bad as he was in the sense of money. We'll get to that episode later on. I swear to goodness. But yeah. Overall, A Pal for Gary is 2 out of 10. There's nothing to talk about this one. It's just... No, I just can't. Speaking of also annoying me, yours, mine, and mine. Get ready, guys. I'm going to give another hot take on an episode that many people just dislike in this season again. Yours, mine, and freaking mine. Look, I can see why many people do not like Patrick in this episode, but still, I just don't necessarily like him here. He's just kind of boring. Well, no. Actually, no. Scratch it. I don't think Patrick is bad as, many people claim to be. You know, as a matter of fact, I compared this behavior the to the fishbowl from Season 9. This will be the last time I'll do a Season 9 comparison because, like I said, I don't want people to just think I'm comparing negatively a Season 7 episode to Season 9 episode. But, you know what? Screw it. Fishbowl is worse than Yours, Mine, and Mine. The problem with Yours, Mine, and Mine... The problem with Fishbowl is that it actually makes this episode look like an angel in comparison. And that's not even my least favorite episode of Season 7, of Season 9. No, that goes to SpongeBob You're Fired. But I'll stop mentioning SpongeBob You're Fired for my Season 9 one. I'm gonna remember that. Yeah. And I will say, SpongeBob actually does at least save this episode also a little bit. Overall, I think Yours, Mine, and Mine is sort of a mixed bag episode. On one hand, I can see why people hate it. On the other hand, I think it's just kind of meh. Okay at best, and there's nothing else I can say. 6 out of 10. I know a lot of people are gonna get mad about that, but you know what? Screw it. I don't care. I'm gonna respect opinions, but don't bash mine or I'm gonna hate you about it. Yeah, anyway. I know people are not watching this as much as me, but anyway. Okay. Let's move on to Crack Crab. Crack Crabs is pretty good. 9 out of 10 again. Like I said, a good episode, good writing, good story, good stuff. I know a lot of people are not going to really watch this stream. Curse of Bikini Bottom. I'll just speed up a little bit. Curse of Bikini Bottom is fine. 6 out of 10. Clarinet Land set 8 out of 10. Or 9 out of 10, actually. It would have been higher. It would have been 10 if only that stupid ending. They could have at least cut that out, or at least made it actually made sense. SpongeBob's Last Stand, pretty good special. I'm gonna save my energy up for Back to the Past. You won't know how much I'm gonna hate this episode. Okay, back to the freaking past. What a miserable piece of crap of a time travel story this is. Patrick screws everything. Bro, Patrick screws everything up in this episode. And it doesn't help that he literally messed with the time machine, ate all the tartar sauce so many times, and somehow a burning point in the past and other stuff. Look, I know Patrick is doing this because he's stupid, but this is not stupid Patrick. This is honestly oblivious Patrick. Because usually Patrick is not this dumb to actually do this type of crap. Wait, scratch that. Because to be fair, in the card episode, he says he sometimes does it on purpose. So you know what? I'm gonna confirm that and say Patrick is just doing this on purpose or something. Or he's just that stupid. Which, you know what? I go with the former. Which, you know what? I don't care. Also, I should mention is that Patrick doesn't even care about his actions, to be fair, which that's not a good thing when your main characters is just a plot device for this episode. I know as many people are not watching the stream, so yeah. Anyway, Back to the Past is a freaking 1 out of 10. Just second place of worst episode for freaking sure. Even then, I still prefer it over Two for Square, even if this special also kind of suck. It won't crack the top 5, but it definitely cracks at least number 7 on that freaking list. Or number 8 on that list. I'm sorry. There's just nothing to say about this movie. There's just nothing. All I can say is pretty terrible. Let's just move on so I don't have to talk any more of this crappy episode. Bad Guy Club for... I'll also speed up a little bit more of a process just to get to 1-course meal. A Bad Guy Club for villains, at least a 9 out of 10. A Day Without Tears is... You know what? It's still kind of bad, but it's not like... It's not like completely terrible. At least 4 out of 10. It may be not my least favorite of season 7, but it's still kind of boring. It has positives, but that's kind of really it. I think this is probably the episode that kind of ruined SpongeBob's character from many people. I think this is like the other episode where it ruined SpongeBob's reputation of a character. You see, there's many artwork, and Luke actually pointed this out in the season 7 video, which I will give credit to, because I know I should not be recycling what he said, but here's what he said in the video, and I completely agree with this statement.
Reputation as a character in the eyes of the public. Think about it. When you see art of classic SpongeBob meets modern SpongeBob, what is modern SpongeBob visually depicted doing? Crying, of course. This episode is solely responsible for this era SpongeBob being diminished to nothing more than a big crybaby, which honestly has always been a little weird to me. SpongeBob has been a sensitive wuss since literally the very first season, and no other episode in the entire show's history has him crying this much. It is admittedly very excessive. Might be the only episode I can think of where SpongeBob has one personality trait, but I guess people hated this random below average season 7 episode so much that they felt SpongeBob just always acts like this now. An extremely huge overgeneralization, but whatever. Literally cry about it. Whenever this one isn't trying to tell the same joke over and over, it can be alright. I like the wholesome, casual little phone call SpongeBob and Patrick have with each other in this scene. And to my knowledge, this is also the last episode where the Homer Simpson fish appears. No, don't leave! How am I supposed to live, laugh, and love in these conditions? Other than that, boring. Yeah, I'm gonna need some tissues, alright, because I'm just crying at how mediocre this season is.
Yep. He described completely how this episode kind of ruined SpongeBob's character. So, yeah. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you, Luke. Thank you for your season 7 video so I can use footage of. I know that was wrong, but still, I thank you, Luke, for saying all the words you needed to say on this ungood, very boring episode. Because mostly this episode is just boring. And not in a good way either. But here's another episode where I actually have nothing else to say on. It's due to Luke, who I'm gonna say again, actually, no. He actually can tell this episode better than I would, actually. So, thank you, Luke, for actually doing the Season 7 retrospective, because, man, most of the footage I'm going to be showing, I think Luke actually agrees with this, because, man, oh boy.
Right, hate Mrs. Puff. This is from the show's worst Mrs. Puff episode. Mrs. Puff herself, or the story, or even the jokes, really. A couple of the gags are legitimate.
Well, not yet.
Good day.
Yeah, not yet, to be fair, but we'll get to the main other reason why this episode just kind of sucks.
And I entered your place of business in hopes of procuring lunch on this
Nope,
fine day.
still not.
The actual issue I take with Summer Job is that nothing happens. Every scene consists of SpongeBob slowly teaching Mrs. Puff what to do, slowly dragging out every single moment, and ever so slowly testing my patience. Even comparing this to other episodes of its kind, there's no additional X factor or hook here to keep the viewer's attention.
Well said, Luke. Well freaking said. You already know what this rating is gonna be. 3 out of 10. I just... No, man. This is not what I expect. Let's just move on to a pal for Gary, please. No. 1 course meal. Yeah. This episode. Many people ripped this episode to half on YouTube. And do I think it's the worst episode of Season 7 or even the worst episode of the show? Well, no. Look, I see where people are coming from with this episode. This episode is not funny. It's not funny seeing Plankton get tormented by Mr. Krabs. Because like I said, and yes, there's been other episodes where they actually improve this concept. Plankton Paranoia and Plankton's Interb are way better episodes than whatever the 1 course meal was. But like I said, I actually have more footage of why I think some of my favorite YouTubers can do better reviews than I could have. So yeah. So I'm gonna use some High Rule footage to show you why I have nothing to say on a on 1 course meal. Because man, it's just, oh my god.
Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
It's just, Mr. Krabs just bothers me in this episode.
Thematically, they're a little bit similar, and they're both great episodes. Oh, and
I think, like I said, I think Luke could do a better job at describing 1 course meal than I could have. So let's get started on this episode.
strap in, folks. I've got a lot to say. So first,
Like I said, he does better than me.
this episode, where Plankton comes in on a little hang glider and has a shootout with Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, and they use serious weaponry. It's actually not dissimilar to the second SpongeBob movie's opening. I wonder if this is where they got it from. But yeah, it's fun, it's high energy, it's creative, it's a good opening. However, it's a part of the overarching problem this episode has. See, that, plus the whole setup of Plankton being afraid of whales, takes up about 4 minutes of the episode. That's all setup, and I think it hurts the episode because, really, it needs a lot more time to play out. We don't actually see a lot of what Krabs is doing. We see him scare Plankton about twice, and then the rest of it is Plankton imagining things in his head. And that leads to a lot of the ambiguity that creates problems with this episode. Is Mr. Krabs actually going and scaring Plankton every single day, or every single minute of every single day for that many days? If so, then yeah, you went way far overboard with this. But if he only scared Plankton a few times, and Plankton was making it up in his head a lot of the time, well, then maybe Mr. Krabs didn't go as far as we think he does. There's also some ambiguity in how far is too far. In the beginning of the episode, Plankton tickle tortures SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs with a feather. Is that supposed to be a metaphor for some harsher version of torture? If being tickled with a feather in that universe is an extremely bad thing and a really horrible experience, then I can kind of understand why Krabs would go this far to get him back. There's also ambiguity when it comes to whales eating plankton. In the real world, that's what happens. In SpongeBob's world, I don't know. Do sea creatures eat other sea creatures? It's not really clear. Is Pearl actually ever a threat to plankton? Well, okay, Pearl isn't because she says she would prefer salads, but are whales in general an issue for plankton? Like, is this a real thing that he has to face on a daily basis? Does he have a real reason to be scared? Or is plankton just over-exaggerating things? It's unclear because Karen has no reaction to what plankton is saying. You'd think if in this world whales were a real threat to plankton, Karen would be a little bit more aware of this and maybe a little bit more protective of plankton. She is a computer. If this was a real fact, she would know about it, right? Between all these little ambiguities, you're left with an episode that's just unclear in general. Who am I supposed to be rooting for here? I know most people wouldn't root for Mr. Krabs, but was it the intent that we were supposed to root for Mr. Krabs? Was it the intent we were supposed to root for plankton? Are we supposed to root for SpongeBob? I'm not entirely sure. Also, maybe it's just me, but I think the episode would have been a lot more interesting had it actually have been Pearl that was scaring plankton. Like maybe Mr. Krabs is tricking her into manipulating plankton. Like at first he tells her to do it for self. Everyone wants me to talk about the suicide reference in this episode. If you don't know, Plankton gives up on life because he thinks a whale is going to eat him, so he lays himself down in the middle of the road and waits for the bus to come. Look, I don't think the intent was ever to make this play out as harshly as everyone is taking it. I don't think that the people behind the episode really wanted you to think about it that hard. But at the same time, I can't deny that it does kind of look like a very somber portrayal of a character who's suicidal. If they really wanted to show that Plankton was at his wit's end, he had hit rock bottom and he couldn't handle it anymore, there are other ways to have done it. In fact, just now I came up with a better idea. If Plankton is so suicidal because he's afraid that he's going to be eaten, why not have him just jump in the whale's mouth because he wants to get it over with? Not only would that be a lot more of a cartoony and child-friendly way to do this sort of thing, but it could also have Plankton figure out that the whale is just a costume, instead of having to have SpongeBob just blatantly tell him. I do think it's uncomfortable, but I also think it wasn't the intent of the episode, and it's not really for that long in the episode, and to be quite honest, the other problems are prevalent throughout the entire thing. Well, the entire thing minus the very beginning. So, much like the Splinter would be a Scumbob without the Splinter, I think One Course Meal would still be a Scumbob without the suicide reference. Does it deserve to be considered the worst or one of the very worst episodes of SpongeBob? Well, honestly, I think that depends on your definition of the worst. If it comes to worst in terms of entertainment value, I don't think it is. I don't think it's even really that close. I think it's a jumbled up bad episode, but there are plenty of episodes that I think are less entertaining to watch. However, if you would consider throwing in something that is not child friendly and something that is really misusing a serious issue, so to speak, then yes, I guess I could see how a lot of people would consider this to be one of the, if not the worst episodes in that regard especially. Personally, I think it's bad, but if everyone would stop talking about it, I probably wouldn't even remember it exists. Outside of that one thing, it's utterly unremarkable. And that is how I feel about One Course Meal. 137, Gary and Love. Gary.
Well said, Pie Guy. Well freaking said. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, but you know what? Pie Guy Rules actually has speaked so many facts on this episode that I can't even argue with anything he says. So you guys are just too harsh on this episode and needs to stop thinking about that suicide joke. It's not supposed to be in the episode. It's not supposed to be taken so seriously. It's just a joke. You guys take it way too seriously, and it gets annoying personally for me. So yeah, thank you, Pie Guy, for pointing out all the things that really many people need to stop what people saying about One Course Meal. Now let's keep skipping a little bit. Gary in Love is a good 8 out of 10. The Place the Thing is 6 out of 10. You see, it feels like a diet version of Culture Shock, which that's kind of sad to say because, to be fair, Culture Shock is still a good episode, but I feel like after watching this one, I think I would rather watch that one, to be fair, or even Squirrel Jokes. Actually, no, I would not watch Squirrel Jokes again. It's not terrible, but still just at least some of the weakest season 2 material. But I digress, I guess. So did I get all of that? Did I get all of that energy already out already? Well, I'm glad Pie Guy Rules and Luke are at least the only people who doesn't hate this episode as much as others. Thank you for doing that, Luke and Pie Guy. You making God's will. You're good. You're making me actually feel better. Cause man, I'm glad that you guys, YouTubers, actually have better reviews to tell than I actually could tell. So thank you very much. Rodeo Days. This episode is boring and kind of a little bit of continuity errors kind of popping in. You see, how come in like Texas they can actually miss Sandy and her going to Texas is not like a concern to them? How unlikable people they are. You know what? They may be unlikable like they're just as like unlikable as they were in honest. You see, this is why I hate like the dark era of SpongeBob. They just make the characters look so unlikable. A matter of fact, SpongeBob's the only one I actually kind of is rooting for. To be fair, sure, I think it was injustice to just kidnap everyone by using bubbles, but they kind of deserve it, to be fair. They kind of deserve it for being so careless and not caring about Sandy, those stupid son of a guns. But still, they're just kind of awful people in this episode. And Patrick is kind of not necessary for this episode. He really is not. All he does in the beginning of the episode is just kind of just does nothing. Also, is the scene of Mr. Krabs, Squidward, and Plankton was necessary? It really wasn't. They just kind of just dragged this episode, and they never even got to Texas until the last scene of the episode. What is this, Sandy's Rocket all over again? Oh wait, that actually is this episode, Sandy's Rocket. At least the third half of this episode. Because it has a similar issue. SpongeBob kidnaps everyone. They bring them to a location that is far above Bikini Bottom. But instead of the moon, it's Texas. They turn into live action fish or characters at the end of the episode. This is a episode I just never liked since I was at least 7 years old in 2017. Yeah, overall, Rodeo Days is pretty terrible. Not gonna lie. It's just so terrible. It's just kind of one of the worst episodes. It's not the worst episode of the season, but it's definitely what I can definitely say. At least top 10 material. Right below A Pal for Gary for me. Right below that episode. Right below A Pal for Gary. But anyway, let's just move on. Grandma's Secret Freaking Recipe. Another Imitation Crabs episode. Screw it. 3 out of 10 again. Like I said, I don't like I don't like Imitation Crabs at all. Well, at least personally, I thought it was not great, but after seeing these 2 episodes, I think it might actually be worse. These 2 might be worse than that episode, which is like Imitation Crabs is decent, but still, man, come on. What is with the writers here? Honestly, what are they trying to do? They just made me upset, honestly, with this episode. Thankfully, Rodeo Days is better than the Sandy Cheeks movie. I'm not even gonna mention that crappy movie ever again. Oh, I'll do a video based on that. I will, I swear. One day I'll do a stupid perspective on Sandy Cheeks. I'm safe in Bikini Bottom on stream. Yay! I hate sometimes what people do to these episodes. They just so annoying. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of. Am I getting too harsh? Yeah. Let's move on to The Scent of Money. Great. Number 6 of the worst episode of season 7. The Scent of Money is literally one course meal, but actually a little better. Look, The Scent of Money might be as bad as that episode, but at least I can tell it's better than at least a like one course meal, which is my third least favorite episode of the season overall. Okay, let's just talk about crabs in this episode. And also, Mr. Krabs is probably is at one of his also worse here. Like, bro treated Gary like crap, like very crap in this episode. It may be not as bad as how he's treated Plankton, but Gary, still, this might be worse than a pal for Gary. Heck, this was also wrote by it was wrote by the same people who wrote the infamous Pets That Are Proud episode. What is with these writers? I'm not gonna lie. What is with these writers? Or you know what? What is with Nickelodeon? What were they thinking about this episode? Because man, 2 out of 10. Number 6 of the worst season 7 episodes. They just thought that I liked this crap, and I did not. This is just not funny. This is annoying. Legends of Bikini Bottom. What a disappointing series overall. Besides Legends of besides Welcome to the Bikini Bottom Triangle and The Curse of the Hex, all the other episodes are pretty underwhelming. And that pains me to say because some of these episodes have good ideas. The Main Drain has a good idea. I like the idea of Sponge Kano and Monster Bikini Bottom. But unfortunately, some of these episodes just kind of failed. The worst one is obviously, so yeah, as a series overall, 5 out of 10. A overall mediocre set of episodes. And that's just disappointing. Or actually, no. Maybe like a 3. I'm sorry. Besides Welcome to the Bikini Bottom Triangle and The Curse of the Hex, even Spongecano, the other 3 are just kind of what made this series kind of go down. So, at least some of, like, maybe number 8 or 9 on the worst SpongeBob specials list, but still kind of bad, personally. Not a good episode. Not a good special. The Great Patty Caper. Yes, I've been waiting to talk about this one. Oh boy. So, actually, you know what? I already talked about this episode in my season 7, my episode review of this episode. So I don't think I need to explain this one. Obviously, a 10 out of 10. Some of the show's best specials of the entire show. This is one of the. This is one of. The, this is some. One of the best specials of the entire show, and that's not saying much. I'm sorry, but this episode is 10 out of 10. My number 1 on season 7 review. And then we got That Sinking Feeling. Look, I know a lot of people do not like That Sinking Feeling. And also, that's also me to the exception, but I can only give it number 5 on my season 7 list because it's due to Hide and Then What Happened, One Course Meal, and even also Back to the Past and you do not know Sponge is where I kind of draw a line. So, yeah. Oh, bum clack. Oh, God. It's me again. It's Mima again. She's still here again. Oh, boy. Let's move on to Karate Star. So, yeah. 1 out of 10. Number 5 on the season 7 worst list. Let's move on. And this episode won an Emmy. Great. You know, why would you choose this episode of all things to win an Emmy? Are you effing kidding? Like, no. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, you shouldn't have a boring episode as your Emmy in 2010. What is with the writers here? I'm sorry, but no, I just don't think it was a good idea. Now, Karate Star is kind of mixed bag for me. On one hand, I definitely see where people are saying Patrick's a prick in this episode, but I don't know. I kind of think this episode is actually pretty good. Unfortunately, I can only give it a 7 out of 10 because it's due to at least Patrick being kind of a prick in this episode. So I'm kind of sorry if I had to do that, to be fair. Burying Time is kind of decent. Burying Time is kind of decent, like I said. It's basically like a died version of Wishing You Well. Maybe not as good as that episode, but at least 6 out of 10 material. Etanity Dreams. Another great episode. 10 out of 10. I can't describe how enough this episode actually might be one of my favorite Squidward episodes of the entire show. No contest. Just overall a great episode. It has great jokes. I love mostly everything. Even though the beginning kind of makes it only number 5 on the list, still a great episode. Ouch. Still a great episode. Oh, looks like I'm gonna get to Abrasive Side. You know, it's kind of surprising how I like 3 episodes back to back to back. Abrasive Side. Oh boy, 10 out of 10 again. This is another episode that I really like in season 7. Great episode. And also Earworm. 10 out of 10. You know, 3 great episodes in my top 5 is surprising. 4 episodes in a row where I love these episodes. This is just crazy. But I think I'm being a little too much with this episode. So overall, I think these episodes are some of the highlights of season 7 next to Great Patty Caper, which I already reviewed. Oh, hi Slime Cubes. It's nice to see you back. I was just reviewing most of season 7 in a row, in a lot. And next up is Hide and Then What Happens. If you don't know, Hide and Then What Happens is basic as a freaking gerbil ball. Hide and Then What Happens is so goddamn simple. I don't even know why I don't know why Luke liked this episode. Because mostly it's just literally boring. Nothing about this episode is exciting or something like that. So yeah, you get where this is going. 2 out of 10. Actually, no. 1 out of 10. Number 4 on the list. Overall, not a great episode for this season. Wow, Hide and Then What Happens to be boring as heck. I hope you're proud of yourself. Then we got Shellback Shenanigans, and I swear I am tired of these Imitation Crab episodes. Thankfully, this is the best one. Maybe like an 8 out of 10. It still kind of is just Imitation Crabs, but I think I might prefer this over that episode. Look, this might be the best Gary episode besides Gary in Love. Look, I think I may have gone already too much on these episodes, but yeah, I like Shellback Shenanigans. Probably my second favorite Gary episode of the season. Better. It's I might think it's close to Gary in Love, which I actually forgot to tell you. I actually like that episode more than you think I am. 10, maybe like 9, like 10 out of 10. Number like 6 on the list. Number 6 on my list. I know that sounds much on the list, but like I said, great episode for this list. The masterpiece. I don't know, guys. I think it's very close to good, but I feel like it's still decent though. It's kind of hard to describe. I do think there's jokes there, but still kind of a little bit of a drag episode. It depends on how you would like this episode. So I don't think I actually have nothing to say bad about, the masterpiece as an episode. It's probably like a 6 out of 10 for me. 6 out of 10. Out of 10. Yeah. And then we got Welk Attack, which is another 10 out of 10 episode. Great. I love the use of monster tropes. This will be apparent when we get to Planet of the Jellyfish. Oh, my beloved episode. We'll get to that and see the Nate stream, but yeah. Welk Attack, 10 out of 10. It might be it's probably like number 5 on the list. Number 5. That's surprising. Number freaking 5? That's just great. I love you, Welk Attack. And then the fun ends here, at least for like the next episode. Oh my god. You notice how I hate season 7 with the generic locations? Well, this will never end. Never end. Not at all until the last episode. Oh my god. I just can't with this. I just can't with You Don't Know Sponge. It may not be as bad as like Choir Boys or, Truth or Square. But man, this might be one of the most frustrating, boring episodes of the entire show. No joke. Nothing happens in this freaking episode. SpongeBob and Patrick are so unlikable in this episode that it honestly surprises me. I hate Patrick for being so stupid in this episode. Like, what is with Patrick's IQ this season? He may be not as bad as he was in, like, season 8, but man, pretty much dangerously close as bad as season 8, which is surprising. Which I think that's when Patrick's worst episodes kind of come in play, to be fair. Look, I don't care if Patrick is supposed to be this dumb in this episode, but oh my goodness. Was the friendship quiz supposed to be this godforsaken boring? Look, I should stop saying that, but man, the pacing here just kind of sucks. This might be the worst pacing in season 7 episodes. I know that's not saying much because even other episodes kind of do that same approach, but still. Look, I understand that people will say, well, you shouldn't be too harsh on You Don't Know Sponge. But, bro, Patrick can't remember, does not know anything about SpongeBob as a friend. You're telling me after 7 freaking seasons, he still does not know what SpongeBob is? Nope. I don't believe any of that crap. I think he's honestly doing this on purpose, to be fair. Like I said, I'm using the card as the example of what I mean by Patrick being dumb as heck, and yet he acknowledges his stupidity. I just think he's kind of just acting stupid just because he wants to mix it up. So, you know what? I'm taking that episode as fact. You cannot tell me otherwise. Am I really that harsh towards this episode? I'm sorry, but man, what was with Patrick's IQ this season? They just made him so stupid. Hold up, guys. Yeah, what is with Patrick's IQ this season? I just can't. This is the worst season 7 episode. The pacing sucks. Patrick is so unlikable. Is so dumb in this episode. SpongeBob is such a whining brat throughout the second half of this episode. The jokes are not funny. There's nothing that happens in this episode. It's so generic, so boring. This is one of those season 7 episodes where the generic, boring locations kind of bite me in the A afterwards. And you know what? This just bugs me a lot. But don't worry, this gets worse once we get to Big Sister Sam. We'll get to Big Sister Sam later, because man, I am ready to turn that episode into very, very hard words. Just you wait. Tunnel of Love. 8 out of 10. I like Spongebob Pearl going through, Glove Road caves. Even it kind of scared. Although I kind of will admit, those robots kind of scared me as a kid. Yeah, I know should not be a wimp for saying that, but yeah, I don't know. They remind me of Five Nights at Freddy. Remember those robots? Do you guys remember how the robots were in Five Nights at Freddy? I may have not played the game, but I have seen the SML videos and Annoying Orange videos on Five Nights at Freddy, which thankfully I don't have to watch those don't have to really watch them. It's a good thing I don't have to watch the Annoying Orange have to play it myself, because I can definitely imagine myself getting a jump scare from them. Because jump scares usually scare me, to be fair. Anyway, let's get back to Tunnel of Glove. It's still a good episode. Also, I think Patrick is surprisingly good in this episode. I know that's not saying much because this is literally what Back to the Past Patrick was, but I can say this though. Patrick is more believably good here than he was in Back to the Past. He actually wants to help here, not be stupid like in Back to the Past. So, you know what? Let's just move on a little bit. Yeah. Let's get back. Get ready to hear me say wiener a lot. Get it? I'm going to call it wiener dogs. Maybe I should call it crusty wieners. I'll stop. Because I'm going to probably... this is not funny. I'm not going to lie. Because it's wiener... It's... What is it? Like wiener clock? I guess I should not be weaning around. Weaning around. Weaning around? Yeah, I know I'm going too much with the wiener jokes. One wiener later. No, she. Sorry. I'm just watching the Annoying Orange, Freddy, the Freddy, tier list episode. Let's move on to, um, anyways, Crusty Dogs. Yeah. Some people just kind of are mixed on this episode. I think it's really good. I don't know what people are saying this episode is bad, personally. It's kind of underrated, to be fair. A pretty underrated episode. I love the use of Wiener in this episode. It kind of tickles my funny bone it kind of tickles my funny bone. Yeah. 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 Okay, never mind. I'm gonna let go of the tickling. 9 out of 10, still. Wreck of the Malaloa, though. 9 out of 10. Number 7 on my list. Yeah, let's just do 7. Actually, no, 10 out of 10 again. Because, like I said, the top 8 are the 10 out of 10 episodes, to be fair. But anyway, yeah, Wreck of the Malaloa, 10 out of 10, number 7 on my list. I think this episode is kind of underrated, honestly. Another underrated episode. I wish people could talk about this episode more. I just think it's fun, pretty creative, and actually it reminds me a lot of when people used to have their own hangouts, which I hope kids used to have those things. And I don't think I used to, but I can see where people are coming from. Dang. Okay, okay. Anyway. Okay. 4 more episodes left. You better get over it. New Fish in Town. Guys. Oh boy, I'm gonna get another unpopular opinion. New Fish in Town is actually a pretty good 8 out of 10 episode. I know this episode is boring, but Personally, dry humor episodes kind of make me laugh a little bit. You guys, to be fair, if Luke can like dry humor episodes in season 6, then why can't I do that in season 7? It was not wrote by Aaron Springer, but at least I can still see if it was a good Aaron Springer. It may be not like an Aaron Springer episode, but it still kind of feels fun. I don't think why people hate this episode. I know it's boring, but this is kind of what I get for not following other internet reviewers. Let's move on to Love That Squid though. Number 8 on my list. That Squid is really, really dang good. I love seeing Squidward actually win for once. That's usually a great thing that you should do, and when you're writing a Squidward episode, you should always make him win for once. That's a good effort from me. Thank you, writers. See, it's not when you do love episodes of this might be the best season with love stories since post movie episode seasons. This might be the best one. This might be better than how season 8 did it. Than actually all the other seasons did it. Krusty Love is the only exception, and Valentine's Day. But man, these 3 episodes, I'm gonna call this the lovely trilogy of good episodes that are great. Gary and Love. Gary and Love, Tunnel of Love, and Love That Squid. The holy trilogy. Well, at least the lovely trilogy. Good episodes. Thumbs up. And then we got Big Sister Sam. Ooh. Let's start with the continuity issues. Why does Patrick have a sister? For first of all, facts. He said he didn't have a sister in Something Smells, but of course, Nickelodeon retconned this episode, I guess. I'm glad that Squidina is Patrick's sister because Sam would have wished she was in the Patrick Star Show. Squidina works better because she's actually a smarter character, even though she's a squid. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of noticing a trend with like a lot of these SpongeBob big characters. They usually look really good. They usually look very big. They look usually very big and large, or at least look very good visually. First was Sam, and then we got Daisy. 2 characters that are very big, and even though I don't like them in general, they still look kind of hot though. Oh good! Oh goodness! Oh goodness! I'm sometimes just too much for channel sake. But anyway, what can I say more about Big Sister Sam? Well, Patrick is kind of stupid here, oblivious, like SpongeBob was in the Pal for Gary. But somehow they made him look worse than SpongeBob. As one of the as one of the many episodes that Patrick is so stupid in, this is one of those episodes. Doesn't get better here from season 8 onward. From season 8. Please help me with season 8 because I'm gonna get so mad at in so many with so many Patrick episodes that season. And also the generic location thing. Oh my god. I said this before in You Know Not No Sponge where I totally ripped this apart. But the generic locations in this season drive me nuts. It drives me so much nuts that I can't even tell it. This might be the most generic season of the entire show. Season 6 may be the most frustrating, but season 7? This one has the lack of many locations and the most generic season of the entire show. Season 12 may be the most rehashed season, but season 7, man, the most generic, the lack of locations in the season, and man, we have a lot of first bad episodes for many characters. Well, at least season 6, though, kind of did this, but still. I'm not impressed, Nickelodeon. I am not freaking impressed. 2 out of 10. Number 7 on that list of worst episodes. You see, this is why I said most of those 1 out of 10 episodes, number 7 through 1 or 1 out of 10 episodes. I told you that, guys. But let's move on to the final episode of the season. Perfect Chemistry. And I will say it's a pretty simple episode. It's not necessarily great, but it's still a good episode. I will say that. At least 9 out of 10 again. Like I said, I don't it's not perfect, but still a good episode. Thumbs up for me. I'm not gonna talk about it because like I said, I think I may have already done the stream too much. But this is all you would expect from season 7. Because like I said, I really do not think season 7 is creative. Too creative. It's just generic. Let's look at the final sheet and see how this season turned out. So, we had 18 bad episodes. That's not a good sign. That's kind of not a good sign if you think about it. 15. Yeah, I think it's 15. I don't know. Maybe 16, 17. I don't know. 17 good episodes. And, well, 15. Actually, no, 16 okay episodes. But, yeah, overall, the season, though, y'all know where this is going. This season is a clear-cut Spongebob. This is the most generic season of the entire show. Maybe not as bad as season 6 and 12, but very generic and not creative. Lack of ideas. And I thought season 7 was bad. Season 12 was kind of just rehash ideas. Season 7 just kind of feels like it has so much, only a few ideas of creative ideas that it drives me insane. Oh. Okay. I think that's enough ranting for season 7. Because really, if I go too far, I think I might go on too long. But I think that wraps up most of this stream. Because this is my season 7 review. Not gonna lie. This will be a full main video, to be fair. So, if you guys comment down below, I will appreciate that. But yeah, overall, season 7 of SpongeBob is just it's just 2 out of 10. Number 3 on the number 13 on the list. Maybe not as bad as season 6 and 12, but still kind of a just dragging season to watch. Which is paid for me to say. I think okay. Ah boy, I think I already torn season 7 to shreds. So thank you guys for watching. See you next time until I get to season 8 of all things. The most mediocre, the most mid-season of the entire show. So a midward season. I know, I know. Yeah, I think overall, SpongeBob Season 7 is not great. Some of the weakest material of the entire show. It's not the worst season. I'm not like one of those fans, or at least the SpongeBob community who usually agrees on something, because I still think season 6 is worse. Yeah, I think I already don't talking about the season. You get the point. You ready to get the point already? Season 7 is terrible. That's just basically it. So, I think that wraps up this video. I think this wraps up this rant, or should I say, or review of the season. So, I don't think I have anything else to say about this stream. So, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment down below on what's your least favorite season of the show. All I bet you guys are going to say is season 7, which I'm not going to disagree, but I still think season 6 is awfully as bad as this season. Let's just move on. Oh my. The final verdict of season 7 is a 2 out of 10. Maybe not as bad as season 6 and season 12, but still bottom of the barrel material SpongeBob content. Let's just get this. Let's just go to season 8, please. Please help me. Cartoon Retro Boy is out.